this as anybody, about wasting our time caring about things that just don't matter. Okay. We spend a lot of mental and physical energy caring about things, and stressing ourselves out over things that just do not matter, are not important. I, as a work in progress, I'm always trying to strive to do less of that, because if I took all the time that I spent worrying about things that probably had no impact or no show in my life whatsoever, I probably wasted 3 lifetimes already. So I have a video with this gentleman. His name is Cole Hastings. He talks about ways that you can try to reset your mind to be more unfazed and basically not worry about things as much. So I hope that this helps you in your professional and your personal endeavors. So Eric, if you want to cue it up.
In life stems from you caring too much. You care too much about other people's opinions of you, your work, all the tiny inconveniences that happen to you on a day-to-day basis. If you put too much emphasis on these things, it can lead to a life full of unhappiness. But once you dive deeper and understand why you care so much, you can control your habitual response to certain situations, and you can develop a mindset that lets almost nothing faze you. This video is going to be divided into 2 parts. The first part is going to go over why you care so much about the things that are having a negative impact on your mental health. And in the second part of the video, I'm going to go over how I learned, or unlearned I should say, to care so much about these things that are having a negative impact on my life that I really should not care about. So I advise you to watch the whole thing to get the entire scope of understanding as to why you care. All right, so let's get into part 1. Where does our incessant caring come from? It really comes from these 3 basic needs that every human wants.
Johnson, you're fired.
Why?
It's not you, it's your shirt.
But it's Casual Friday.
Well, you've taken it too.
And these are our need to feel in control, our need for acceptance or connection, and our need for consistency. Our need to feel in control explains our attraction to stuff like knowledge, food, shelter, wealth. These are things that we want to be able to control within our lives. That's why we care so much about them. When we start to feel like we're losing control to one of those things, it signals something in us to, act upon it, to gain back that control. This is also why we try to control other people's opinions about us by people pleasing. A lot of people are big people pleasers because they don't want to feel like they can't control someone's opinion of them. And even though they can't, if they people please, they know that they'll have a better chance to. It also explains our attraction to risk-taking, fortune-telling, or novelty, because these are ways for us to test or improve our control. And we want to be in control because this is how we developed in an evolutionary perspective. If we don't have control of our environment, of the things that are around us, of our thoughts, then we aren't going to be able to survive. The second one, which might have the biggest impact on most people's mental health, is our need for acceptance and connection. There's very little as humans that we can achieve alone. Evolution has hardwired us to assume that we stand a better chance at survival if we are accepted by everybody. And obviously this is completely outdated now. We aren't fighting for our lives to survive every single day like prehistoric times. We don't need that group necessarily. And we all want to feel attractive and seductive to people because we want that connection and we want the chance to be able to reproduce with someone. This is again our outdated mind overpowering how we really should feel. I'm very certain that those guys do not give a shit about what people think about them. And this is why so many of us have a hard time spending time alone with ourselves. Not only because we haven't self-actualized, we haven't learned to love ourselves, but also because when we spend a lot of time alone, we feel like we don't really fit in with any group. And also with self-actualization, besides connecting with people, we also want to feel connected to the world around us, to what we do, to who we feel we are. And this is why emotions and stories, and not not facts and numbers resonate so deeply with us. And lastly, our need for consistency supports the first two. The only way we know that there's breaks in consistency is if we aren't in control of something or if we aren't putting together connections with things. We want our life to be consistent because then it's easily controllable because we know what's going to happen next. A lot of people have anxiety when they can't predict their future. It makes them care more. So when something goes wrong in our lives that's different from the norm, or we get a bad opinion about us, we start to care more naturally. This oddly explains also why we are so attracted or care more about mysterious things. Because they're unpredictable, it makes us care about them more. This happens a lot with like relationships with people. If you don't know a lot about someone, if they're not very upfront, if they're not on social media posting all the time, it gives them sort of like a mysterious vibe, and we naturally care about their lives more. And from a biological perspective, it was in our best advantage to pay attention to inconsistencies within our environment, within people. This makes sure that we're paying attention to the right things that aren't predictable that could possibly cause harm to us. And one more idea that I want to add to this that I think is left out a lot of the time is society's programming to get you to care about those things or emphasize those things even more. You know, the way that our society, at least in the West, is set up is to really overvalue status and your looks. These, above all, determine your worth in modern society. And that is through the media, that is through the things we consume. We think that these things really, really matter to us more than personal fulfillment, more than happiness, more than finding meaningful relationships. You should value status and how you look, how attractive you are. And when you see things in the media that put these things on a pedestal and you don't get them, you don't achieve them, it makes you care way more. Now, here's what most people forget. Before we get into the second part of this video, I just want to say one statement. You can control your reaction to any situation you are presented with in your life. A lot of people forget this, that they have control over their mind. They can take back their control and they can choose to not care about these things that they really shouldn't let have a negative effect on them. But obviously that's a lot easier said than done. So what do we do? Let's get into part two. How can we stop caring? Understanding all of the reasons as to why we care so much about things we shouldn't care about is a good start. You know, it makes you become aware of these things. And once you do become aware of these things, you can think to yourself, once you feel that you're starting to care about something that is having a negative impact on you too much, you can say, okay, which one of these needs is producing this amount of care in me? And then you can just say, okay, this is something that has been wired into me. It's something that is a biological need. It's something that I can overpower as a self-aware human, as a modern human who knows how to control their reactions to situations. But that doesn't exactly completely destroy all the caring about those things. It just helps you cope with them better. So what it really requires us to do is to adopt a new mindset, to adopt a new perspective on how we view the world. And not just the world, I guess I would say the entire universe, about what life really is. This is what I have adopted, and this is what I'm going to tell you guys now. Now, I would not call myself a nihilist because I do think there is meaning to life. I think that the meaning to life is just to experience what life has to offer, to get the most out of life, whatever that means for you, being successful, doing what you love, positively impacting people, all while making a living off of it. I think that that is the true meaning of life. But something that I always come back to when I start to realize I'm caring too much about something that I really shouldn't care about, or when I'm going through a really rough patch or getting a lot of criticism, I just realize how insignificant my problems are compared to the rest of the universe. In the grand scheme of things, the human perspective of one single human is absolutely nothing. You are a single human in a single state, in a single country, in a single continent, in a single Earth, or a single planet, I guess I should say, in a single galaxy among trillions, I think trillions of galaxies. Once you realize that, and once you take in this perspective, it just dissolves all of your problems, or at least almost all of your problems, because you realize, wow, a lot of my problems, a lot of the things I care about are completely insignificant. They don't really matter. I think a lot of us tend to forget about how short our time on Earth here is compared to how long the universe has been and how long the universe will continue to be. And you can compare your problems to other problems that are happening in the world that are at such a greater scale, and you can realize that you have a small amount of time on this earth and that nothing is permanent. The biggest thing for me is just realizing the impermanence of everything, that one day everyone is going to die, that one day all of your problems are going to cease to exist, that one day all the memories that you've had are going to be nothing. And for a lot of people, this is a really depressing thought that nothing is going to matter one day, but it's the most liberating thing ever. Once you realize this, you realize that you can do anything that you want in life, that if someone is criticizing you for being who you truly are, who you like, your authentic self, like they're giving you shit for that, that does not matter at all. We're all gonna end up in the same place, which is buried underneath the ground, which really makes you think, is one person really better than someone else? This whole life is just one big game to get the most out of, to experience the most. It's not about who has the most money. It's not about who has the highest status, who has the most friends. All that stuff doesn't matter to me anymore once I adopted this mindset. And it allows me to just act according to my authentic self. I'm not afraid to freaking dance in public. I'll do pranks in public. Like I have tons of videos here on YouTube where I'm doing pranks in public or I'm just talking about subjects on the internet and in real life that people will criticize me for, that I know that they'll criticize me for, but you know what? It doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. I just want to live my life the way I want it to, and if I'm judged for that, which you absolutely will be if you're not a people pleaser, then whatever. It doesn't matter anyway. The only reason that I used to care about these things is because I would let my old biologically programmed brain control me. If nothing is permanent, how are you going to overvalue all of these opinions that other people have about you, or, you know, stuff that happened that was bad or that you regret in the past, or what could happen in the future? The fact that the future is unpredictable. It doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things anyway. So just live your life how you want to live it. Be the person that you truly want to be, and be the person that makes you the happiest. This is the most powerful way to relieve yourself of the cares of your mind and of your body. Now, if you guys enjoyed the video, if this video helped you, I'm just gonna keep that in there because whatever, I don't care. Exactly, you see? If this video helped you and educated you, then leave a like on it. I really hope that.
So this video, I probably watched this video 5 times, and it's been very helpful to me in trying to change my own mindset, because I am a natural worrier. I'm somebody who deals with anxiety, and I'm somebody who sometimes cares way too much about things that really don't matter. And, you know, if this has helped you to try to think about readjusting your mindset, I think I've done my job. I really hope that it's helped you guys, like I said, professionally and personally, kind of refocus and think about the things that really matter. Don't really worry about the things that don't. Welcome.
Thank you, Eric.